The inheritance nobody wanted. The space station floated silently above the desert planet. Inside, in a large courtroom filled with humans and aliens, the atmosphere was tense. Everyone waited for the reading of the will of General Roderick Ward, a war hero and legend. No one expected anything exciting. Most people believed he left behind only old weapons and useless junk. But today, something would shock them all. A young man named Eli Ward stood alone near the front. He was tall, with brown hair and tired eyes. He wore a simple mechanic's uniform. He didn't know his grandfather well. They only met once, many years ago. Still, the law said he was the only heir. The judge, a gray-skinned alien with 4 eyes, began reading. By the law of inheritance, all personal items of General Roderick Ward go to his grandson, Eli Ward. Eli sighed. He thought maybe he'd get a rusty spaceship or some old tools. But then, the doors opened. 2 armed guards entered, pulling something behind them. No, someone. A young alien woman walked between them, her hands chained in front of her. Her skin was light blue, and her long silver hair fell over her face. She was barefoot and wore a thin white robe. Around her neck was a glowing metal collar. Gasps filled the room. "She's one of them," someone whispered. Eli blinked. He had never seen a creature like her before. She looked scared, but also calm. Then she raised her head and looked at him. Her eyes were bright gold and glowing. For a moment, Eli felt like time stopped. The judge spoke again. "This is Saela. She belongs to a lost alien race known as the Ilarian. She was captured during the Battle of Alliance 7. General Ward claimed her as war property. She is now your legal possession." The room went silent. One man, dressed in a black government uniform, stood up. "This is not right. The Ilarian race was banned. She is dangerous. She should be kept in a containment zone." Eli looked at the girl. Her eyes showed no anger, only sadness. He stepped forward slowly. "How long has she been kept like this?" 32 years, the judge replied. "She hasn't aged," someone said. "She was in stasis," another answered. "Frozen." Eli's voice was soft but clear. "Can she speak?" The guard shook his head. "We don't know. She hasn't said a word since she was taken." Eli took another step toward her. She didn't flinch. She just watched him. In that moment, he remembered something. A photo in his childhood home. His grandfather standing proudly, a strange glowing object behind him. Now he realized that object was her. She had been treated like a trophy. Eli turned to the judge. "What are my rights exactly?" "You may keep her as property," the judge said. "Sell her, trade her, or return her to the Galactic Guard, but once claimed you are responsible for her actions." The government officer shouted, "Don't be foolish, boy. She's not a pet. She's a threat." Eli looked at the chains, the collar, her quiet eyes. Then he said loudly and clearly, "I free her." The room exploded with noise. "What? He's mad. Illegal action." Guards reached for their weapons. Saela gasped for the first time. The judge banged the table. "Silence. He invoked ancient law. He has the right." The officer growled, "You don't understand what you've done. You'll regret this." Eli walked forward and took out a small tool from his belt. Slowly, he broke the lock on her chains. Then he deactivated the glowing collar. It dropped to the floor with a soft thud. Saela fell to her knees. She looked at her hands, free for the first time in decades. Then she looked up at Eli, confused. "You're free now," Eli said softly. She whispered, barely loud enough to hear. "Why?" Eli smiled gently. "Because no one should live in chains." Behind them, alarms started to ring. "Government agents. Called for backup. Take him into custody," someone yelled. Eli turned to Saela. "Can you walk?" She nodded. "Then let's run." They both ran toward the exit as the courtroom fell into chaos. But in her golden eyes, for the first time, was not sadness, but a spark of hope. Freedom comes at a price. The door slammed open as Eli and Sayela ran out of the courtroom, footsteps echoing behind them. Red lights flashed. Alarms screamed through the station's halls. Metal doors began to seal off parts of the corridor. Voices shouted through comms. "Ward has freed the Alarian. Lock down the sector." Eli grabbed Sayela's hand and pulled her forward. She stumbled at first, her muscles still weak after decades of stasis. But then she picked up speed. Her bare feet hardly made a sound. They turned a corner and slipped into a maintenance tunnel. It smelled like oil and burnt wires. Eli slammed the door shut behind them and welded it with a small plasma cutter from his belt. Sayela leaned against the wall, breathing heavily. Her glowing eyes darted around the dark tunnel. "You're hurt," Eli said. She shook her head. "Just tired. My body's waking up." They both went silent for a moment. The tunnel hummed softly, hiding them from the chaos outside. "Why did you do it?" she asked. Eli looked at her. "I didn't plan to, but when I saw you, I knew I couldn't let them keep you like that." Sayela studied his face. "Humans destroyed my world. Your grandfather helped burn my city. Why are you different?" Eli didn't answer right away. "Maybe because I saw fear in your eyes, not fire." She looked away. "I wasn't a soldier. I was only 13 when they took me." That hit Eli hard. He imagined a child, locked in a stasis pod like a machine, while the world moved on without her. He clenched his fists. "We'll get out of here," he said. "I know this station. There's an old cargo port they never fixed. I used to hide there when I worked on broken drones." But as he reached for his comm device to find a route, it crackled with static, and then a voice came through. "Eli?" "Ward, this is Commander Reeve of the Galactic Guard. Surrender now. You are aiding a Class A alien threat. You have 30 minutes. Eli's face went pale. Sayela froze. She whispered, "Reeve. I know that name." "You do?" Her voice shook. "He was at the Battle of Elian 7. He was the one who led the raid on my people. He was there when they took my sisters." Eli's eyes narrowed. "Then we're not surrendering." Outside the tunnel, Commander Reeve stood in a black uniform, silver medals shining on his chest. He was older now, with a scar running across his jaw and cold steel-gray eyes. Around him stood armed soldiers, ready to storm the maintenance sector. "Ward is just a mechanic," Reeve said. "He'll panic, he'll make mistakes." One of his lieutenants spoke up. "Sir, what if the alien activates her powers?" Reeve's lip curled. "Not possible. Her powers were sealed when she was captured, unless—" He didn't finish his sentence. Back in the tunnel, Eli led Sayela through narrow paths, climbing over pipes and broken control panels. They finally reached a hidden panel behind an old storage locker. "This leads to the cargo port. If we B&D get there, I can steal a small ship." "You would risk that for me?" she asked. Eli smiled. "Yeah, I guess I'm not good at following orders." He pushed the panel open and was instantly thrown back by a blast. Smoke filled the tunnel. A shadow stepped through. Commander Reeve. Well, Reeve said, smiling. "The hero and the monster. Touching." Sayela backed away. Her hand started to glow faintly like starlight, but she looked weak. Reeve pulled out a neural whip. "The last time you used your powers, little alien, you almost killed me, but not today." He cracked the whip at Eli, hitting him across the chest. Eli dropped to the floor, gasping. "No!" Sayela shouted, her voice shaking the tunnel walls. Reeve laughed. "Still got some strength left? Then let's end this quickly." But before he could strike again, the lights in the tunnel flickered. The metal walls vibrated. Sayela's body began to shine. Symbols appeared on her skin, ancient and glowing. Her voice was calm. "You took my childhood, my sisters, my name. I remember now." The symbols on her skin pulsed. Eli looked up. "Sayela, what are you doing?" "I'm remembering who I..." Am, she whispered. Reeve charged forward, but the light from her body exploded outward, slamming him into the wall. He screamed as his armor sparked and cracked. Eli shielded his eyes, and then, silence. When he opened his eyes, Reeve was gone. Only his weapon remained on the floor, smoking. Scylla collapsed beside Eli. He caught her before she hit the ground. Her skin was cold, her breath shallow. Scylla, stay with me. She looked at him weakly. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Use that power. Eli held her close. You saved us. From behind, the sound of more guards echoed in the tunnel. They were coming fast. Eli stood up, lifting Scylla in his arms. Time to fly. They finally reached the old cargo bay. Inside was a rusted courier ship, barely working, but still functional. Eli strapped her into the seat. Don't worry, I've fixed worse. As the engines roared to life, the bay doors opened. The guards burst in, but Eli was already lifting off. Blaster fire bounced off the hull, but the ship escaped into the blackness of space. They were free for now. Sayla stirred in the seat beside him. Eli. Yes? She looked at him, her eyes still glowing faintly. There's something inside me. A memory. Locked. Your grandfather did it. He used a machine. Eli frowned. Why? I don't know. But if we find it, we'll know the truth. About everything. Eli nodded. Then that's where we're going. Out in space, the stars opened before them, but behind them, Commander Reeve was not dead. Deep inside the station's medbay, his broken body floated in a healing tank. His eyes opened. This is just the beginning, he growled. Whispers of the past. The ship floated in deep space, far from the crowded planets and patrolling warships of the Galactic Guard. Inside, the lights flickered as sparks popped from a broken control panel. Eli Ward sat on the floor of the engine room, tools scattered around him. His shirt was torn and a bruise darkened his jaw. But he wasn't focused on the pain. His mind was only on one thing. Scylla. She was lying in the medical pod, still unconscious. After she used her strange power to stop Commander Reeve, her body had shut down. The glowing marks on her skin had faded, but something was different now. She wasn't just a prisoner anymore, she was dangerous, powerful, and still a mystery. Eli wiped sweat from his forehead and checked the screen above the pod. Her vitals were stable. Heartbeat slow but steady. Suddenly, the screen blinked. A message appeared. Memory seal detected. Access locked. Code required. Eli leaned in. Memory seal? He clicked through more options. The screen showed a glowing diagram of Scylla's brain. Deep inside was a sealed file blocked by old encryption. He whispered. Someone hid her memories. Scylla stirred slightly. Her eyes fluttered open. Eli. He rushed to her side. I'm here. You're safe. She blinked, still weak. Where are we? In deep space, far from Reeve. You passed out after you used that power. Her eyes lowered. I didn't want to. It just happened. Eli helped her sit up slowly. I found something. In your mind. A memory seal. Someone locked away parts of your past. Scylla stared at him. I've always felt something missing, like shadows inside me. I think your grandfather did it, Eli said. He didn't just keep you as a slave. He hid something. Something big. Flashback. 32 years ago. The memory returned like thunder. A younger Scylla sat in a glass pod, her hands and feet bound. Outside, soldiers in black uniforms stood at attention. General Roderick Ward approached, face cold and unreadable. She's the last one? He asked. Yes, General, the officer replied. The rest of her race was eliminated. Ward nodded. Then wipe her memories. Lock away what she knows. We can't let her speak. But, sir, she's just a child. That's why. She's dangerous. The memory faded. Back in the ship, Scylla gasped and held her head. I remember. Him, your grandfather. He said I couldn't be allowed to remember. Eli's face darkened. Why? What were they afraid of? I don't know, she said, voice shaking. But I need those memories back. Eli nodded. There's a place, an old rebel base, hidden in the ruins of Elian 7. I heard stories when I worked on trade ships. They have old tech. They might be able to unlock your mind. Sayala hesitated. That's my home planet. Yes. Then we're going back. Arrival at Elian 7. The planet was broken. From orbit, giant scars of fire and glass cut across its surface. Once green and full of life, now it looked dead. Eli's ship entered the atmosphere, shaking as it passed through old storm clouds and radiation fields. As they landed on a ruined platform, Sayala stepped forward and looked out the window. I remember singing trees, floating lights at night, laughter. She closed her eyes. All gone. They exited the ship and walked across the ruins. Dust swirled around them. Strange shadows moved in the distance like ghosts of the past. Finally, they reached an old bunker hidden under the roots of a broken tree. A symbol was carved on the door, the mark of the Ilarian. The door scanned Sayala's hand. Access granted. Welcome home. Inside, lights flickered on. The underground base was still functional. Holograms lit up the walls, images of Sayala's people, smiling, building, dreaming. A voice echoed through the room. Ilarian citizen identified, initiating memory restoration process. Sayala stepped into a glowing circle. Machines came to life around her. Eli stood close, worried. Are you sure? He asked. I need to know who I really am. She closed her eyes. Lights danced around her head. The air grew heavy. A loud hum began, and then her body jerked. She screamed. Images flooded her mind. Restored memories. She saw a hidden meeting. Ilarian leaders talking about a secret energy source, one that could reshape galaxies. She saw betrayal, humans pretending to be allies only to backstab them. She saw General Ward, Eli's grandfather, standing over a dying alien, stealing a glowing crystal from his chest. She saw herself as a child running with her sisters, hiding the last piece of something ancient, something powerful. Then everything went black. Sayala collapsed into Eli's arms. He held her tight. What did you see? Her voice was barely a whisper. They killed my people, not because we were dangerous, but because we discovered something. A source of energy, a key to space and time. Eli's eyes widened. Your people found it first? She nodded. And I'm the last one who carries it inside. Suddenly, alarms rang out across the base. A voice spoke through the comm system. This is Commander Reeve. You didn't think I'd lose you that easily, did you? Sayala's blood ran cold. He's here. Eli grabbed his blaster. Then we finish this. No more running. Enemy in the shadows. The sky above Elian 7 had turned blood red. Smoke curled through the ruins. From the underground base, Eli and Sayala stared at the blinking red lights and heard the cold, familiar voice over the speaker. This is Commander Reeve. You've led me on quite a chase, alien. But it ends here. Sayala's hands trembled, her glowing eyes dimmed. He found us. How? Eli scanned the controls. He must have planted a tracker on my ship, or worse, he's been watching this planet waiting for you to come back. Sayala stepped back from the console. We can't fight him, Eli. Not here. Not now. I'm not strong enough. Eli turned to her, voice firm. No. We're not going to run forever. He killed your family. He silenced your people. He's the shadow behind all of this. We end it now. The bunker shook. Dust rained down from the ceiling. They're landing, Eli muttered. We need a plan. Suddenly, a part of the wall flickered. A hologram appeared, an old Ilarian recording. It showed a map of hidden escape tunnels below the bunker, leading to an ancient temple buried beneath the planet's surface. Sayala gasped. That temple. It was sacred to my people. The place where the core was hidden. Eli frowned. Core? Sayala nodded. the heart of Ilarian knowledge. Our ancestors placed something powerful there, a weapon, or maybe a message. Eli's eyes sharpened. Then that's where we go. Meanwhile, above the surface, Commander Reeve stepped off his warship in full black armor. His helmet scanned the land, showing life signs and heat trails. Behind him, 10 elite soldiers marched in silence. Search the ruins. Bring me the alien alive. Kill the human if needed, he ordered coldly. One soldier asked, why not just destroy the base from orbit? Reeve's tone turned sharp. Because there's something down there I want. Something buried with them. He stared at the ruined planet with narrowed eyes. Secrets don't stay buried forever. Underground, the descent Ellie and Ciela moved quickly through the narrow tunnels. Their lights flickered. Strange symbols glowed faintly along the walls. The deeper they went, the warmer the air became. Ciela whispered, "This place remembers." Eli looked around. It's like it's alive. They reached a large stone door with glowing blue vines wrapped around it. As Ciela stepped forward, the vines uncoiled and the door slid open silently. Inside was a massive underground temple. Tall pillars reached into darkness. At the center was a pedestal surrounded by floating stones, all rotating slowly. Eli whispered, "What is this?" Ciela walked forward, drawn by something unseen. The marks on her skin began to glow again, brighter than ever before. Her voice was quiet, but clear. This is where they made the choice, to trust or to hide. Suddenly, the stones above the pedestal moved, revealing a glowing crystal orb. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Eli stepped beside her. Is this the core? Ciela nodded. It contains our people's last message, a warning, a map, and maybe a way to fight back. Eli reached out, but before he could touch it, a loud voice echoed through the temple. Step away from it. Reeve. He entered through a tunnel with his soldiers, all weapons drawn. His armor gleamed in the low light. Ciela stood between him and the core. You have no right to be here. Reeve smirked under his helmet. I have every right. Your kind gave up that right when they tried to rewrite the galaxy. Eli raised his blaster. You're the one rewriting history. You turned peace into war. Reeve laughed. Spare me the speeches. This core holds technology worth more than any planet. I won't let a half-dead alien and a boy mechanic stand in my way. He raised his weapon. But before he could fire, the core pulsed violently. A wave of energy knocked everyone back. The temple trembled, walls cracked, the floating stones spun faster. A holographic figure appeared above the core, an ancient Ilarian elder with silver eyes and long robes. If you see this message, our world has fallen. Our knowledge must not be used to conquer. It is a bridge, not a sword. Only those with peace in their heart can unlock it. The light faded. Ciela stepped forward and placed her hand on the core. It accepted her. Light shot from the pedestal surrounding her in energy. The symbols on her skin merged with the core, and visions flooded her mind. Maps, technology, languages, histories, and the secret of the weapon her people once built to stop space-time manipulation. She gasped and fell to her knees. I see it. I understand now. Eli ran to her side. What is it? It's not a weapon. It's a seed. It can restore worlds or destroy them. Reeve pushed himself up, eyes burning with greed. Then it belongs to me. He charged forward, gun blazing. Eli fired back, ducking behind the pedestal. Ciela, eyes glowing bright, raised her hand, and a force field blocked Reeve's shot. The energy was unstable. The core pulsed like it might explode. Reeve screamed, Give it. To me. Ciela stood tall. You took everything from me. My sisters, my people, my life. But you will not take this. Her voice echoed through the chamber. She raised both hands. Light burst outward, knocking Reeve and his men into the walls. The ground cracked. Rocks fell. The temple began to collapse. Eli grabbed Sayela. "We need to go. Now." She nodded and they ran, the core now dimmed but safe within her. Behind them, Reeve pulled himself out of the rubble, blood dripping from his forehead. His armor was shattered, his pride was worse. "I will find you," he growled, "even if I have to burn the stars to do it." Back on the ship, Eli placed the core into a protective chamber. Sayela sat nearby, quiet, still glowing faintly. He looked at her. "What happens now?" She turned to him slowly. "Now, we find others like us, others who still believe in peace, and we finish what my people started." Eli smiled. "Together?" Sayela took his hand. "Together." But deep in space, a signal pulsed from Reeve's broken armor, calling for help, calling for something worse, something darker. A new enemy has awakened. The bond between two worlds. The stars drifted silently outside the ship's window, but peace was far away. Eli sat in the cockpit, staring at the core, the glowing Ilarian, artifact that now pulsed faintly in the sealed chamber. The ship was on autopilot, gliding through unmarked space toward the coordinates Sayela had found in her recovered memories. Coordinates that led to a possible resistance base, if it still existed. Behind him, Sayela lay resting in the medbay, her body still recovering from the massive energy she unleashed at the temple. Eli touched the glass of the chamber gently. "What are you?" he whispered. "A weapon? A miracle? Or a curse?" He turned at the sound of footsteps. Sayela stood at the door, her skin pale, but her glowing golden eyes steady. She wore a long robe now, something she found in the old temple. Simple, but woven with the symbols of her people. "You should be resting," Eli said softly. "I've rested long enough," she replied. She walked over, looking out at the stars beside him. "For 32 years I slept. And while I slept, my people became myths. Monsters in human stories. But we were never monsters. We were dreamers." Eli looked at her carefully. "Then let's help them dream again." Sayela's lips curved into a small, sad smile. "I wish it was that simple." She turned to him. "I remember more now, not just the core. I remember my sisters." Eli listened quietly. They were gifted too. One could speak to machines. Another could see into possible futures. We were chosen as the guardians of the core, but when the humans attacked, they took us, separated us. I was the only one hidden. She looked down. "And now I don't know if they're alive or dust in the stars." Eli gently took her hand. "Then we find out. We find the truth. All of it." She held his gaze. "Even if it destroys everything you were taught to believe." Eli didn't blink. "Especially then." A signal in the dark as the ship moved closer to the outer sectors. A soft ping echoed. Through the console. "Incoming transmission. Encrypted. Unknown origin." Eli frowned and opened it. A hologram flickered to life. A figure in a dark hood. Human, possibly, but face hidden. "To the one who carries the core, we are not your enemy. We are what remains of those who chose peace over power. We have waited for the last Ilarian. Come to the hollow moon. But beware. You are not the only one searching." Then it cut off, Sayela whispered. "It's real. The resistance. They survived." But Eli noticed something else. In the background of the hologram, a blurred shadow, a human officer wearing the same crest as Reeve's forces. His heart sank. They've been infiltrated. The hollow moon wasn't on any map. It drifted near a dying star, its surface cracked and dry like bone. Eli's ship landed near the edge of a deep crater that led into a hidden base below the surface. Guards approached, not in military armor, but in scavenged gear and old uniforms. They were rebels, outcasts, former soldiers, and aliens, too. Not just humans. Inside the base, flickering lights guided them to a chamber where an old woman waited. She had green eyes and a long metal staff. "Welcome, Sayla," she said. "We feared your kind had all been lost." Sayla bowed her head. "I carry only fragments, but I came for the truth." The woman nodded. "Then you must see the echo." She led them into a dark room, where a strange machine hummed. It connected to the core, and when Sayla placed her hand on it, the chamber was filled with light. A vision played out, the past, the betrayal. Human generals, including Reeve, agreeing to fake peace talks with the Ilarian Council, only to bomb their cities days later. Behind them, Eli's grandfather, shaking hands with a shadowy figure, a figure not fully human. Eli stepped back. "What is that?" The old woman's face turned grim. "That is the truth behind everything. There's a species hiding behind human faces, shapeshifters, quiet invaders. They pushed humanity into war with your people, Sayla. They feared what the Ilarian could become, and now they control Reeve." Sayla's voice was faint. "They made my race disappear." Eli's fists clenched. "And they're still out there." The old woman nodded. "They want the core, not for peace, but to open the gates between worlds. The core can unlock dimensions. It was never just power. It's a key." Suddenly, boom. The room shook violently. A soldier ran in. "We're under attack." Reeve's warship hovered above the hollow moon, raining fire onto the surface. Dropships landed in waves. Reeve, now half machine after the injuries from the temple collapse, stepped out in black armor with red lights. His voice echoed through the comms. "This time, you don't get to run. This time I take the core and the alien." Inside the base, chaos broke out. Rebels scrambled to hold the line. Eli grabbed Sayla and the core chamber. "We have to go." But Sayla stopped. "No, I'm done running." She stepped onto a platform and raised her hands. The glowing symbols returned. The core responded. Lights connected her to the walls, the wires, the power systems. She was merging. "She's becoming one with the tech," the old woman cried. Sayla's voice echoed through the base. "I won't let my people die again." She turned the lights into weapons, beams of energy that shot through the walls, disabling Reeve's invading drones. Eli stood by her side, defending her as soldiers broke in. But Reeve arrived himself, stepping through the fire, unshaken. He stared at Sayla. "You're strong," he said, "but you're alone." Then Eli stepped forward. "No, she's not." He shot Reeve point blank, but Reeve's armor absorbed it. Reeve grabbed Eli by the neck. "Humans are easy to break," he hissed. But before he could strike, Sayla screamed. A wave of light exploded outward. Reeve was thrown across the room, slamming into the wall. His armor cracked. His faceplate fell off, revealing something underneath. Not human. A second jaw, black eyes, thin silver skin. Everyone in the room froze. Eli gasped. "He's one of them." Sayla's voice trembled. "The shapeshifters have already taken control." The rebels aimed their weapons, but the creature smiled with inhuman teeth. "You've only delayed the storm." He vanished in a beam of light, teleportation tech no human had. The battle was over. For now. Aftermath, the hollow moon lay, in ruins, but the core had awakened. The resistance now knew the truth. The enemy was not just the corrupt humans, it was something older, something hiding among them. Sayla and Eli stood together in the main chamber. Their hands met. "You're not just my protector," Sayla said. "You're my bridge to your world." Eli nodded. "And you're mine to yours." They looked out at the stars. So many lights, so many lies. But also, hope. A bond had formed, and war was no longer just between species. It was between truth and shadows. Rise of the Forgotten, the hollow moon was quiet now. Fires had been put out. The bodies had been counted. The resistance had survived, barely. But their world had changed forever. Everyone saw it with their own eyes. Reeve was not human, and now they knew. He was just one of many. Inside the Resistance Command Center, Eli stared at the broken mask that Reeve had left behind. The metal was fused to strange alien tech, and the eye lens still flickered with strange symbols. It wasn't just a mask. It was part of a second skin. "They've been living among us," Eli whispered. "Pretending, controlling." Sayela stood across from him, her glowing golden eyes full of quiet fire. "They manipulated your people into fearing mine. And now they want the core, not to build peace, but to open doors they were never meant to touch." The resistance leader, Elder Vena, stepped forward. "If they unlock the ancient gates, they could bring something worse into this galaxy, something not even the Ilarian were brave enough to face." Eli looked at her. "What gates?" She turned to a large screen and activated a hidden archive. A star map appeared. Hundreds of red-marked points scattered across space. "These are sealed rift zones," Vena said. "Buried by the Ilarian long ago. Each one is a tier in space, a doorway to the unknown realms." Sayela nodded. "My people feared them. We called them the whispers between stars, places where reality breaks." "And the core?" Eli asked. Vena's voice dropped. "The core is the key. It can open them, or seal them forever." A new mission. The Resistance had intercepted a signal. One of the rift gates, deep within the Zeruan gravefields, a cursed sector filled with wrecked ships and ancient ruins, and was glowing. The shapeshifters were already on their way. "We can't let them activate it," Sayela said. Vena agreed. "But it's a trap. You'll need allies." That night in the lower hangars, Eli and Sayela sat alone, staring at a small star map. Eli handed her a necklace and a small crystal shard from the Ilarian temple. It's from the same place where you found the core." She took it slowly. "It belonged to my sister." Suddenly the shard glowed faintly. A pulse. A signal. Sayela gasped. "It's a beacon." Eli stood up. "You mean she's alive?" Sayela nodded. "Or someone wants us to believe she is." Zeruan gravefields, the forgotten battlefield. Their small ship approached the gravefields, a vast debris field where hundreds of ships from the human-Ilarian war floated in silence. Burned husks, twisted metal. Ghosts of a forgotten war. Inside the ship, Sayela sat quietly, fingers wrapped around the glowing crystal. "Are you ready for this?" Eli asked. She looked at him. "No, but I have to go anyway." As they drifted deeper into the field, the signal grew stronger. Then suddenly, their ship was pulled. A magnetic force grabbed them, dragging them toward a massive ruined vessel. An Ilarian command ship, long thought destroyed. They crashed into its docking bay. The ship of echoes inside, the halls were dark, filled with floating dust and broken lights. But something still worked. Machines clicked. Lights flickered in strange patterns. Sayela led the way, drawn by the shard. "This was the flagship of our last stand," she whispered. "My sister, Lyra. She was second in command." They reached a sealed door. The crystal pulsed. It opened. Inside was a cryopod and was still glowing. Sayela rushed forward, hand shaking, and inside was a woman, blue skin, silver hair, identical marks. Her sister. "Lyra." Sayela broke the seal and the pod opened with a hiss. Lyra's eyes fluttered open. "Sayela?" Tears filled both their eyes. They embraced tightly. Eli stepped back, giving them space. He couldn't speak. It was too powerful to interrupt. But then, movement. From the shadows behind the cryopod, figures stepped forward. Shapeshifters. 5 of them, trapped inside the ship. Waiting. "It was bait," Eli growled. "They used your sister to bring you here." One of them shifted, its body twisting, cracking, until it wore Eli's face. It spoke in his voice. "You're too late. The gate is already opening." The final rift, a hidden chamber, opened, revealing a rift pulsing with chaotic energy, floating in the ship's core. It had been under their feet the whole time. A shapeshifter stepped toward it, holding a shard of the core stolen during the battle on the hollow moon. Sayla shouted, "No!" But it was too late. The shard touched the rift, and it screamed open. Black wind blew through the ship. A shadow emerged, something massive. Not shapeshifter, not Alarian. Something older, something alive. It had no face, only a swirling mass of darkness and light. A voice filled the ship, not through ears but inside their minds. "I am hunger. I am memory. I am the forgotten truth." Sayla collapsed. Blood ran from her nose. Lyra screamed, "Shut it down!" Eli ran to the console, started smashing controls, but they weren't responding. Then Sayla rose. Her eyes burned golden. She stepped toward the rift. "You do not belong here," the creature whispered. "You were the first, and you will be the last," Eli shouted. "Sayla, don't!" She raised her hand. The core pulsed from inside her body. She wasn't just holding it, she was part of it now. She began to close the rift, but it fought back, dragging memories, pain, and emotion out of her. She screamed. Eli rushed to her side. He took her hand. "Let me help." The core glowed brighter, responding to their bond. Together, they pushed. The shadow wailed, not in pain, but in fear. And then, light. The rift snapped shut like a wound, healing in reverse. Silence. The shapeshifters were dead, turned to ash. Lyra fell to her knees. Sayla collapsed into Eli's arms. Aftermath, they returned to the hollow moon with Lyra, carrying a new truth. The shapeshifters weren't the real threat. They were pawns of the forgotten ones, ancient beings sealed long ago. And now, one of them had almost broken free. Eli held Sayla close. "You didn't just save us," he said. "You saved reality itself." She looked up, barely able to speak. "We haven't won yet." She placed a hand over her heart. "The core is changing me. I don't know how long I can hold it," Eli whispered. "Then I'll hold you." And far, far away, a cold, dark place stirred. The last forgotten one had awakened. A new legacy. The stars burned cold and silent as the hollow moon floated in the darkness. Inside its command chamber, Sayla stood before a crowd of rebels, humans and aliens alike. Her silver hair shimmered in the soft lights. Her golden eyes had changed since. The rift, darker now, deeper. She wasn't the same girl who had once knelt in chains. She was something else, something more. Eli stood by her side, his hand gently resting on the core's sealed chamber. He looked around the room. Rough fighters, scientists, ex-soldiers, even children. All eyes were on Sayla. Waiting, hoping. She stepped forward. 32 years ago, my people trusted yours," she said calmly, "and they were betrayed." Murmurs spread across the chamber. "But," she continued, "not by all of you." Her gaze flicked toward Eli. "I was captured. My sisters vanished. My memories stolen. But in the hands of a mechanic, a nobody, I found something stronger than power." She paused. "I found mercy." Silence. Then Elder Vena rose. "The shapeshifters have fallen quiet. Their ships have withdrawn. We believe they're regrouping." Eli asked, "What about the last forgotten one?" Sayla looked down. She opened her palm. A small thread of black mist swirled above her skin, barely visible. "It touched me," she whispered. "The rift, the forgotten one. Part of it is still inside me." Eli stepped closer. "Then let's remove it." She shook her head. "It's not that simple. It doesn't want control, it wants to live through me. A choice no one can make." Later that night, Sayla sat alone in the observation deck. The stars looked different now, not like lights but scars. Eli joined her. "I keep thinking," he said, What if I had left you there in chains? Sayla turned to him. Then none of this would have happened. But maybe someone else would have freed you, he added. No, she said. Only you would have. Eli was quiet for a moment, then asked, Can you feel it? The darkness inside you? Sayla nodded slowly. Yes, it whispers sometimes, shows me things, other places, other times. She looked at him sharply. There are more rifts, and more creatures waiting behind them. Eli's voice turned firm. Then we close them, all of them. But if we do, she said, I may not survive. The Galactic Council word had spread. The shapeshifters had been exposed. Fear gripped the systems. Chaos bloomed like wildfire. Old governments fell. New ones formed. The Galactic Council, once corrupt, had no choice but to act. They called a summit, and they called for Sayla, a former slave, a lost daughter of a destroyed race, a living weapon. The meeting took place on Orion Prime, the center of galactic diplomacy. Sayla walked into the council hall not as a prisoner but as a witness. Hundreds of species filled the room. Cameras floated overhead. Billions across the stars watched live. She stood at the podium. I am Sayla of the Ilarian. I speak for those who were silenced. A murmur ran through the chamber. I do not ask for revenge. I ask for truth. My people were destroyed by lies, by a hidden race, using your fear to turn you into killers. She raised her glowing hand. This is the core. It is not a weapon. It is a memory of peace, of potential. The human ambassador stood. And yet, it nearly opened a door to something that could destroy everything. Sayla looked him straight in the eye. Yes, she said, because you tried to use it as a weapon, but I've seen what lies beyond those doors. Creatures older than time, beings that should remain forgotten. Eli stepped beside her. We're not asking for power, he said. We're offering a warning, another alien leader spoke. And what would you have us do, human? Follow a half-dead alien girl and a ship mechanic? Eli smiled. No. Follow the truth. One final rift. The council hesitated, argued, debated. But in the end, they gave them a ship and a team to search for the remaining rifts and seal them. Sayla, Eli, Lyra, and a few loyal rebels boarded the vessel Solace's Light, a ship powered by a fusion of human and Ilarian tech. They tracked the largest rift to the edge of the galaxy, near a dying star, where space itself bent unnaturally. It was there that they saw it, the final rift, still closed, still pulsing, but whispering. Sayla stood at the edge of the control platform. The core floated before her, glowing, spinning, alive. She turned to Eli. This is it. If we seal it, he asked, what happens to you? She didn't answer. I can feel it, she finally said. The part of the forgotten one, inside me. It wants to leave, through the rift. If I go with it, I can close it forever. Eli stepped forward. No, there has to be another way. She smiled sadly. There never was. He grabbed her hands. Then I'm going with you. Her voice broke. You can't. You belong here. You're the proof that humans and Ilarian can change the future. Together. She kissed him gently. You gave me hope. And before he could stop her, she turned, stepped into the light, and vanished. Epilogue. The new legacy. The rift collapsed behind her, sealed, permanently. The final gate shut. The forgotten ones, silenced. Eli stood alone on the deck of the Solace's Light, watching the place where the rift had been. He opened his hand. Inside was the crystal necklace she once carried. He closed his fist around it. Back in the center of the galaxy, stories were told of Sayla, the last Ilarian, the girl who gave up everything to stop the dark. But Eli didn't believe she was gone. Not really, because sometimes in his dreams he saw a light and heard her voice. I'm still with you. New legacy had begun, not built on war, but on truth, and on a single choice, to free a girl in chains.